Right, so now come on to my round 5 game from the French League. So far I've been doing pretty well with a couple of good victories against some strong players. This is my first loss. It was quite an interesting game though, to be fair, so well worth going over. I haven't checked it with the computer or anything, so I'm just going to give my general thoughts to what happened in the game as I go through it. I was black, my opponent was Postny. Postny, a strong player from Israel who's been high 2600 before. In this game he was currently rated at 2612, and the game started d4 and now I played knight to f6. Now obviously I regret playing this move after the game because I was having some great results and victories with the Dutch, and possibly I should have stuck with the Dutch because it was serving me very well. But I quite like trying out new openings as well because it keeps you fresh. It's also interesting to experiment with new structures. I think you learn more about chess in general if you try out new openings. So in this game I decided to try the Benoni defence for the first time in my life. I only had a quick look at it in the morning, and I probably went wrong somewhere in the middle game because I'm assuming I got quite a decent position from the opening. So c4, e6 is what I played, knight to f3, and I played c5, so this is entering the Benoni. d5, so takes d6, knight c3, g6, and now knight to d2. So I did have a look in the morning at his games, and I saw that he played this knight to d2 idea, which looks pretty a standard and sensible move. A couple of plans: he wants to go e4, and his knight wants to basically sit on the c4 square. This is the main idea behind it. And sitting on the c4 square, the knight is well placed, pressurises d6, etc., etc. So bishop g7. e4, castles, bishop e2, rook to e8, castles, knight bd7. I know a lot of time in Benoni you have to decide where you're going to place this knight. Do you place it on c7? This is one common idea, because on c7 it tries to support the b5 break. Or do you aim to place it on e5, where it's also can be hit by f4, but can also be very active on the e5 square. It's more of a kingside attack idea of putting a knight on e5. So this is the line I decided to play. So knight to bd7, rook e1, knight to e5. And I was assuming here that if my opponent plays f4, well, then I go knight to g4 here, and this could be a bit dangerous for him, with some threats on the dark squares. I mean, I don't know, let's just have a look. Knight to e3 is the immediate threat, I'd imagine. So something like bishop to f1, and then can we do something like knight to h5? This already looks a bit dangerous for white, with the bishop coming to d4 check, and the knight coming to f4, and the queen coming over here, etc. So I think this is a bit dangerous. After knight to e5, my opponent decided to play h3. Now I was a bit surprised about this because it looks sensible. My opponent wants to play f4 next move, but this can also be a bit of a weakness, this pawn on h3. So I was actually very happy to see my opponent play this move. I mean, it's later on, there could be some sacrifice on h3, okay, or the move I played in the game, g5. Looks like a good move here, and he has to always now be wary of me going g4, trying to also create some play on the king side. So yeah, so I was actually very comfortable around this position, this point. So knight to f1 was played, so he's threatening by pawn on g5. I don't think g4 is the right way to continue here. I just went h6, defending this pawn, and the whole point is this pawn structure is basically just try to take control of the f4 square and play on the dart squares, because you can see I have quite a lot of control of the dart squares now, and keep my knight on e5. So yeah, I think my position should be okay here. I mean, I don't think I should be any worse. I've generated enough play. My opponent played a4, and I'm not totally sure about my next move actually. I played knight to g6, which looked very logical. I wanted to sort of put this knight here, and given a chance, maybe put my other knight on e5, something like this. And I thought that was my best kind of arrangement. But maybe I can leave my knight on e5 for a bit longer here and just develop with, I don't know, maybe something like a6 even, or bishop d7 might have been a better idea. Okay, knight g6 is played, knight to g3. So the knight comes to what should be a decent enough square. a6, so bishop d2, bishop d7. Rook to a3. Now I think this is a good move. My opponent, yeah, he's obviously a very strong player, and this is a very useful square for the rook. I mean, later on in the game we can see that this rook is very useful coming across the third rank. So rook to a3 is a good plan. And now again, I'm not sure I picked the right plan. I just thought doubling rooks on the e-file looked very logical here, but maybe I should have been thinking about something else. I mean, I went queen to c7. Which looked okay, but I mean, maybe I've got some other plans here. I'm not entirely sure what, but maybe after rook to a3 I should just play something like rook to b8 even, and just try to go for this b5 break. This might be a lot more logical. But okay, queen to c7. I mean, this is a problem when you play new openings. One of the most important things, I think, is to be confident in the middle game. And if I play the Dutch, I mean, because I've been playing it all my life, I'm very confident in the middle game. I can normally know exactly what I should be doing. But in this, the Benoni, as I haven't played it before, I really don't have a clue what the best middle game plan is. And I think one way you can improve back at home is not just get carried away with learning all your opening moves. I mean, one of the things we try to do in our DVDs is to try to explain the concepts behind the ideas. So, I mean, I wouldn't really be well enough qualified to do a DVD on the Benoni because I don't know the main concepts. That's why I stick with the Dutch and the French so far. But let's move on. Queen c2. Okay, so I've doubled up. Rook e7. Knight to d1. So this is a strong plan. He's aiming to put his knight on f5, so homing in on my weakness here. Okay, so I went rook e8 first, f3, and now this is a very important moment. I had a long think here because his plan of playing this knight to f5 is quite a strong idea. I don't know. I mean, I've got to try to counteract this and play in the dark squares. He has weakened a lot of dark squares on his king side, so I expect this is a critical moment here. I mean, I went knight to f4. But I'm not sure if this is correct. I mean, maybe there's a better idea. Knight to e3 is played, and now I went knight on 6 to h5. And my idea was here that I'm going to play an exchange sacrifice in a minute, so my knights are going to take up very good squares on f4 and g3. So this is my general idea, but I think White's plan of taking control of this f5 square was a very strong plan. So maybe considering all that, queen to c7 and doubling up on the e-file is just the wrong idea in the position. Okay, so knight f5 is played, so I took this knight off, my opponent took back, I went rook to e5. So my idea here was at some point to play rook takes f5 given a chance, and then all my minor pieces would be very good and I'd have pressure on the e-file. So my opponent now decided to play knight takes g7. I played king takes g7. I could play knight takes g7, but after bishop c3 I'm going to have to give up the exchange anyway, so I play king probably because his bishop's so strong. King takes, bishop c3, and now I went knight to g3. And I was relying on the fact that my knights here could cause a lot of problems, but I think I don't think I sort of played this particularly well here. I think this plan's not good enough. I mean, okay, I do have good control of dark squares, but it's not really going to be enough compensation for the exchange. So an interesting idea, but didn't quite pull off. Bishop to f1, and now around here, I think I made a big mistake. In the game, I was about to play a5 here, which I think is a very important move to play, this a5 move, because it holds up a lot of play he's got on the queen side. As we'll see later on in the game, his play on the queen side became very dangerous for me, and this is what won in the game. By playing a5, I've stopped the break b4, and it's very hard for him to make any breaks here whatsoever. He hasn't got any pawn breaks now, and it's not clear what he does. I mean, he can go king h2, and this is the idea I wanted to stop, but then I guess I drop one of my knights back here, and I'll try to get my queen around to f4, maybe try to play the f5 break as well. So I think I should have stuck my initial idea here and played a5 after bishop to f1, which would have kept things close. I went h5, but we're going to now see, after king h2, h4, a5, I always have to worry about some kind of break on the queen side here. For example, b4 is going to come, and as he's going to be the exchange up, he wants to open up lines for his rooks, and b4 is going to open up the c file and also the b file, and this is going to cause me a lot of problems. So I'm clearly worse here. I mean, maybe around here I should have just tried to get my queen around to some more aggressive squares, but I'm struggling a bit here, and he played very well from this moment onwards. Queen d8 was played, so I did try to get my queen around. Rook b3, stopping my queen coming around, so I have to come back. Queen d7, rook b6, f6, so we can see things have clearly gone wrong for me. Bishop takes e5, Rook takes e5. The problem is, even though I'm blocking up the centre and the king side, I still can't get enough active play over here, so this is a bit lazy of me to think I'll just put my knights here and something will turn up. Well, it's not clear what will turn up. On the other hand, he's just going to open up some lines on the queen side. So, rook takes e5, and now I'm on the defensive after rook e7, and he finished the game off very nicely. Okay, bishop c4, knight g6, queen c3, just b4 is going to come. When b4 does come, it's going to be very annoying for me. Knight e5, bishop d3, knight h5. I'm just messing about with my knights at the moment, so not really sure what I'm doing. f5, got to try to gain some counterplay, but it's too slow. After b4, try to keep things close to c4, but b5 came, and okay, it looks a bit dangerous for him on the king side, but his play on the queen side is a lot more scary. And after, let's just have a look at a couple moves. Knight g6, queen a3, hitting d6, rook s7, trying to get some counterplay. Queen takes d6, queen a4, hopefully getting around the back. But yeah, after rook b7, rook takes b7, rook takes, I think I played king h6, and I think here he just played something like rook to f7 here, and I resigned. So, quite an interesting game, my first excursion with the Benoni, and I do like the kind of structures that it gets. I mean, the inspiration for this was a game I saw from the Gibraltar tournament, which I've mentioned in this post as well. This gave me the inspiration to play the Benoni, and also some of Tao's games. I've just done a interactive DVD on Macau Tao, which is going to be a very exciting project. It's never been done before. And that'll be available to preview soon. And I saw he had some great games in the Benoni as well. So this is the inspiration for it. But to be fair, I'm going to have to get a lot more practice in, because I still don't know the precise concepts to what I'm supposed to be doing. I mean, I think one of the critical moments, if we go back in the game, was after he played rook to a3. Here, he played a very nice plan, eventually, of taking control of the f5 square, so very good positional plan for him. I mean, he played a very smooth game, so yeah, well done to my opponent. But around here, I think this is where I've made the critical errors. So maybe you can help me out there back home. Maybe you can suggest what a good plan for black would have been in this position. Maybe some of you know the Benoni better than me, because I'll be interested to hear your thoughts anyway. But thanks for listening to that video. I will come back with another video very shortly. Cheers then, bye.